Okay, we're looking, okay, maybe on this episode. Working on both the Mustangs, getting them ready for a road trip that happens in like 2 days. The wife's Mustang didn't need a whole lot. It needs an oil change and a detail. Got the front bumper put on after being repainted at Mako. I'll put some footage in here of that. Bryce is going to work on cleaning the seats for the Fox body because one of them was from the junkyard and sat outside for unknown amount of years. And the other, they're both SN95 seats. And the other one was in the car for who knows how long, swapped with power seat tracks that don't work, so you can't move it. So I have a set of manual seat tracks that I have to do a little repair on. And then the Fox body sat in a storage lot in a grass field for like 2 or 3 years and had mice in it, so just who knows. Everything needs a good cleaning. So Bryce is going to get on that, and I am going to work on the Fox body, which I did get running, and it sounds like maybe on 8 cylinders. So let's get into it. Sweaty once again. We are back on the high mileage salvage title Fox body. I don't think I told you guys that it has a salvage title before. So yeah, it was cheap. It has a salvage title. That's how you hack the market on the overpriced Fox body situation. You may be thinking to yourself, boy, the top end of that engine looks clean and shiny for 170,000 miles. And you'd be right. But that's because, well, see those right there? Those are the 170,000 mile heads off of this car. And we just got done rebuilding the entire top end of the motor. Look at how clean that is. Went ahead and added some chrome shorty headers, BBKs, while we were at it. So now we are ready to finish filling it up with oil and crank it till we get some oil pressure. Then we're going to find out if our V6 5-liter Fox body will once again be a V8, because she was only firing on 6 cylinders before. So we're about to find out if we did any good. Why, child, is there a scooter in between all of the doors? Kid-idiot. Okay, that's better. Oh boy. We got severe leakage up here. Well, what do you say about that, guy? Oh, I'm gonna call it 16 and a half. And, steady enough. Do we have oil pressure? Heck yeah. Well, now we just got to figure out what that horrific exhaust leak is that we didn't have before. Okay, let's see if we're a success or a failure. Oh! She sounds pretty good. Still the blown out drone masters. But we're gonna take care of that. We'll get it a little bit warm and then let it cool, and we'll give them header bolts a retort. Look at, I'm vlogging. Okay, problem number 2, the Mustang. Chelsea's 2001 Mustang GT. Here we have a freshly repainted front bumper. I went ahead and put the fog lights and the grill back in after I cleaned them up and gave the fog lights a quick little polish. So let's see if we can throw it on here without scratching it. Bryce is going to be cleaning up the seats for us. Junkyard Unknown Scust seats. So Bryce just turned 13 the other day, 2 days ago. He's a good helper. When he wants to be, huh? Okay. So this is packing greasable, packable wheel bearings. They're not sealed units like the newer cars have. This is the old way. So you always want to test fit everything first. I've got my new races pounded in there. I took the grease gun and made a nice layer of grease. You want to basically fill that groove with grease. Kind of smooth this out. Fill it all up in there. And that's at least what they always taught, was that that is a layer that when your brakes get real hot will melt and flow into the wheel bearings to lube them. Not sure if that's true. That's just how they teach it. So okay, so we'll do that. And you want to clean all the old grease out. This had red grease in, but which was arguably probably better. You basically want it full of grease in there up to the races. Okay? And always dry fit everything. I already threw the bearings in to make sure they fit. Check the seals on the spindle and on the car. Sorry, the spindle's on the car. On the rotor and on the car to make sure they fit. I'll put a link in the description for all the part numbers. I'm not sure, but I believe... So that says, what, 5448 or 5443, Bryce? Can you tell?
9.
Okay, so I believe these are 91 Lincoln rotors off of like a town car or like a Lincoln Mark 7. So take that for what you will. Hopefully we've got enough grease to do this. This is like a Molly grease, chassis grease. It's good enough. That's all we got, and we don't have time to run to the parts store. So I'm going to pack the smaller bearings first, because otherwise you end up with a big mess, and I usually just use the boxes. So this is this is my bearing packer. I just got it clamped in the vise. Not sure if I'll be able to get the... Let's thread that down a little bit. Stick a grease gun on this end. It's pretty easy. So what you want to do is force grease in through the backside wider side here until little fingers of grease come out between the rollers. That's when you know. So simply taking some grease and smearing it on the outside to lube up the bearing isn't gonna do it. That's gonna end up with a failure in pretty short order. So we have to pack them with grease, because there's nothing feeding them grease constantly as you go down the road. This is all it's gonna have for the lifetime of this pack job. So anyway, this guy threads right on there and seals the inside of the bearing. Okay, then we take our grease gun, stab it on there, and we can kind of watch from the side as we force grease through the bearing. You can hear it.
Oh, there it is.
We good? I think we're good. We don't want to do overkill, because I don't think we have enough grease to do that. Okay, so there you go. See how we got grease completely coming out the other side? And then what you do is take all your kind of extra grease that pooched out. Make sure you do have a nice coating on the outside when you're done. I'm going to give that a little more. I don't quite trust that for some reason. This is a messy job, so latex gloves are your friend. Let's give her a little bit more.
Oh, yep.
Good?
Yeah, there's...
Okay. These blow up. It's your fault. You said they were good. You just assumed liability.
Never mind.
But anyway, the point is we're forcing grease in between all the rollers, so it's really packed in there. And then we'll show you. You basically want the whole cage to be packed with grease. So we'll put that guy there. Like I said, we're doing the small ones first. And this little bearing packer you can like get at the parts store. I've had it for, geez, I don't know how many years. I used to do a lot of wheel bearings at my first job. Trailer bearings, pickup wheel bearings. And we had like an air powered packer, kind of like this, and that thing was awesome because we did it a lot. So it's been quite a few years, but I used to do a lot of packing and adjusting bearings. So I'll show you my way that I was taught. Shout out to Don and Kenny at D's 4-Wheel Drive for teaching me how to pack bearings back in the day. That was my first mechanic job in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Way back when.
Yeah, that's also how I learned a lot about working on old body style Ford pickups, because at the time, those let's try doing this one the other way. Because I'm thinking for some reason maybe it's supposed to go this way in this kind of packer. Anyway, yeah. Old body style Ford pickups were kind of like in full popularity swing at that point, like the early 2000s. And that's about the age where vehicles start having problems. So I worked on a lot of those. Now this one is obviously going to take more grease because it kind of has to fill up the middle before it can start pushing out through the sides.
Oh, here
There
it
we
goes.
go. See the fingers? I did do them other two backwards. That's what it should look like. That's how you know.
Oh.
That's why they call it fingers, because they look like little fingers. Now, of course, I smeared it when I took that off of there, but you saw them, right?
I did.
Okay. So, you don't want too much grease on the inside because it makes it actually hard to get the bearing over the spindle when we go to put it on. I heard you kids like them sloppy. Okay. And then we just drop that guy right in there. Then we'll put the seal in, we'll put the front bearing on as we go. And then this little devil stays messy, so as soon as we're done it goes right back in the bag that it came out of, that it's been in for years and years. Yeah, this is just a messy job.
Oh, yep.
And we want to make sure we have those all the way around. Looks good. So it's just that easy. You can pack them by hand too. You get like a wad of grease in your palm and you basically scrape it into the bearing and then turn it. I've never liked doing it that way. It takes forever. I mean, if you got no other option, there's that, but kind of sucks. Okay. These guys are kind of a plastic. I might use something to... Anyway, you just tap these in from the back side with a hammer or whatever. Lube them up with a little grease first. Oh, you dirty dog. When you hear that sound where you're hitting metal against metal, that means you're good. So give it about 7 more taps, and then you're fine.
Like that ringing?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that was. Hear the sound change? Mm-hmm. That's also when you can tell when your race is pounded all the way in when you're driving it in, because the tone kind of changes. Okay, I'm going to clean up the spindles. Bryce is going to get back on cleaning seats. We'll do some front brakes and we'll be ready to throw wheels on, hopefully. I cleaned these up a little bit, the nuts and washers. So I'm going to grab those in my one hand, and then the rotor, and I'm going to give those a little bit better clean before we throw brakes on, but let's go throw this on. I need to test drive this turd like tomorrow. So anyway, make sure everything is nice and lubed up on your rotor parts and don't be a knucklehead. Bearing goes in. Washer with the little tang in the groove. We're going to make sure it's pushed in all the way and then just kind of finger tighten it for now as good as we can get it. Okay, then the other side. Okay, real quick, this is how I adjust wheel bearings. The caliper's hanging by the brake hose. Don't do that. Why am I telling you not to do things that I'm doing? Well, because my brake flexi hoses on the front are cooked and I'm changing them, so it doesn't matter. It will damage them sometimes if you leave them hang. So don't worry about that. We want the caliper. Let's fall down. So don't worry about that. We want the rotor to spin freely, and we're going to throw the wheel on there just as a little helper because it makes it a lot easier to free spin. So we're just throwing this spare tire on here to make it easier to spin the wheel and adjust the bearing. Now, I think this is like 1 1/8 inches. I can't find my socket that big, so we're just going with the old crescent wrench. These don't get tightened very much, so don't worry about it. So what we're going to do is go ahead and snug that nut and then spin the wheel, snug the nut, spin the wheel. We're going to keep doing that until we don't have any more tightening on the nut to go. So, see, tight. We'll spin her a couple times. Okay, and give it some more. And this is working out that initial slop that'll happen as you drive down the road. So if you don't do this and you just tighten that nut, they're going to get loose as you drive down the road. You don't get a lot out of it, maybe like 1/8 of a turn at a time. So we're doing this until it won't tighten anymore, and then we're going to set the preload. Let's go the other way for some good measure. I think that's going to be about it. Okay, I'm going to call it there. So now what we're going to do is back the nut off, and we want basically 0 lash so that there's no slop in and out or axially, but there's not a lot of preload on the bearings. You just barely, what a lot of guys would say was back it off, and then where there's 0 lash, just let the weight of the ratchet go just a little bit. It's like a 1/16 of a turn clockwise past 0 lash. So what we do is back it off. See there, I can feel there's really no preload. So that's snug. That's the wheel that's moving, unfortunately, not the because my lug nut's not really tight. But so there's no slop there. There's no preload. So what we're gonna do is go about a 1/16 of a turn, or if you do it a lot, you just get a feel for it. We're just gonna, right there. That's it. You crank these down too tight, you'll burn them up. If you set it too loose, they'll get sloppy and loose right away. Which really should take about 30,000 miles for them to get a little bit sloppy, and then you repack them. So we're calling that side good. We just need the little cap and cotter key. But I still have to go get the cotter key or find one somewhere in the shop. So we'll do the other side and then we'll do the brakes. As promised, cotter pin and keepers are on there, new brakes, new brake hoses, and caps are going back on. A little bit of silicone doesn't hurt a thing. It's good to keep the water out. Not that we'll be fording any waters with this, but I guess that's my four-wheel drive habits. After mechanically rebuilding the Mustang, here we go. Whew, I'm all sweaty. It's like an hour before I have to go to work, and we got to leave tomorrow in this thing. So far, still rides rough.
Why?
But it's not going like it did with the tires being out around. And try to seat the front brakes in because they're brand new. And also there's a spider web in the back seat, so watch yourself.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're gonna have to do the 5-minute clean on this guy.
Okay.
That exhaust pipe is still banging around in the back a little bit. I'm gonna try to put the mufflers on it tomorrow if I have time. We'll see. Okay, so she seems to be running pretty good so far, which is good considering we just rebuilt the whole top of the motor and we're going on a road trip tomorrow. This is the first test drive. So we're gonna bend the brakes in real quick. Let's see which way this guy's going to start it. So I'm gonna get going about 55, and we're gonna do like 3 real hard stops.
Oh, God.
sat for a couple years. It sat for a couple years, so they might clear up a little bit, but probably not. Like I said, this motor's about slap wore out, so 163,000 miles on it. So hopefully it'll get us through this trip, and then it's getting a lot better things. So far, not hating the AOD. It's really not bad. All right, let's flip a U and head back. I'm gonna call that a successful test drive. No more serious vibration, which is good because we have brand new tires all the way around. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode. If you like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you're notified when new episodes come out. We need to set a subscriber goal for this year. We're really trying to grow the channel. I don't know, what do you guys think? 10,000 subscribers? We're creeping up to about 4,000 right now, so I feel like that's a realistic goal. If you like Ford stuff, this is the place to be. We've got a Fox body Mustang, a New Edge Mustang, 69 F100 getting a Crown Vic swap, 78 F-150 4x4 short box, 48 Ford F1 pickup. Is that it? I think so. We got 3 pickups, 2 Mustangs. I feel like I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, we have that one you guys haven't seen yet. Yep, we picked up an old body style truck too that we're gonna do a little tweaking on. So give us a thumbs up, it really helps out. Tell your friends, this is the place to be for Ford stuff. On the next episode, it's day 1 of the 1,000-mile road trip in this pig. And this should shock you none. We're still working on cars on day 1 and hitting the road late. So thanks for watching. See you next week.